Hello, I'm very excited to be getting this update out. It is a huge update, and it is largely about the ability to expand bundles inline. So here's a bundle, got run right here. I can click on it, or I can hit the enter key, and instantly I can see all the messages that are in that bundle. Now, it's not all the messages in my inbox that are in this bundle. It's all the messages that are on this page. So right now I have almost 1,000 emails in my inbox. If I open this bundle, I will see, that looks like, I don't know, 40 or so. But if I actually click to view all, I will see that there are far more messages going way back in my inbox in this bundle. So it's still useful to be able to view all. You can actually, if you want that to be the default experience, you can come in here and say, do not expand bundles inline. Instead, I want to, by default, open up the search, right? So I click on that and it goes straight to it, just as it does right now. So I want to touch on why, before I go any further, why is the inline expanding? Why is that useful? Beyond it's really fast, so I'm not waiting for it to open up the search. There's another reason why this might be the best default experience. And this kind of touches on both the most common issue that's come up since the original launch of bundles and the Simplify beta, but also a flaw in Gmail that I tried unsuccessfully to fix back when I worked on Gmail. I was a design lead on Gmail for a number of years, and it's kind of a back-end flaw and kind of an interface flaw, but not one in Simplify. And it has to do with threads. So Gmail's interface is entirely thread-based, right? I see threads here, a list of threads. I see a label on a thread. I open it up, and I see labels again on the thread. But Gmail's backend is actually message-based. So these labels here are not really on the thread. They are on these messages. You just can't see that. You can see it with stars, though. So for instance, let's mark this thread. We're going to star this message. So that message is starred now. And then I'm going to mark unread from here. And you can see pretty quickly why kind of a message-based architecture makes sense. Unread state, star state, all these things are really at the message level. But then the interface tries to bubble that up into a thread basis. So what does this have to do with bundles? So if I search for is unread, all right, I'm going to see this message because there is a message in this thread. Let's see this thread. There is a message in this thread that is unread. That's actually what that means. If I say is starred, again, I'm going to see this thread because there's a message in this thread that is starred. Now, if you remember, the second message got starred, but only the last message is unread. So if I search for is starred and is unread, well, where did it go? Right? This thread is unread and starred. Why does searching for is starred is unread not show it? And that's because there is no message that is both unread and starred in this thread. Tricky, right? So here's where this comes in with bundling. So let's go back to, we're on the inbox. Okay, great. So I'm going to quickly send another reply. Now I applied this label manually, which means I just selected it and added the label. Boom. So that label was instantly added to all of these messages. Now, if you apply labels with filters, they get added to new messages that come in and match the filter criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say reply. This is a nice message I've got going on myself back and forth. I'm going to reply one more time, one more message, and I will send that. And that'll show up here in a second. So got to wait for good old undo send to let it come through. And eventually that will show up. Come on, you can do it. There he is. Okay, so new message is on there. Now, what's tricky is this message, and we'll mark it unread again. This one actually doesn't have this label because when I applied this label, only these 3 messages were in the thread. And I don't have a filter that's automatically applying the label. So the label is technically not on that last message. So just like the starring, the same applies here. So if I say mark this as unread, well, actually, oh man, I forgot to do one other thing. Oh, this gets even more interesting. I remember what I was going to do and I failed. So we're going to have to send another message. That's fine. So inbox is another label. So when I remove the inbox label or when I archive a message, you are taking the inbox label off of the messages in that thread. So let me actually, I'm going to delete this. It doesn't really matter. So, all right, well, here, I can show it with unread, but I'm going to, I should have written this out. So is unread, same thing as with the starred, unread. Yes, there's is unread, but as soon as I say label feedback, it's not going to show up. Again, why didn't it show up? Well, it's because feedback is on these three messages. They're all read. This message is unread, but does not have the label. So I was going to show that with inbox. Let's show it one more time. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and now watch. If I add feedback again, I'm going to take it off, and then I add it back, and then I say mark unread from here. And now if I search for unread and label feedback, it shows up because that last message does have feedback and is unread. So what happens when I archive a message? So if you're a label user, you don't use filters, and you're applying labels manually, and you're using bundling, this whole thing kind of comes to a head. So new reply, we'll send one more message. So what happens is you would see a message show up, and let's say we've got a couple of things bundled here. We'll just add feedback so that we get a bundle for feedback. Lovely. And now I can unselect. Okay, so new message in bundling. So now in the inline bundling, because it's done based on what you see on threads, you see the message in the bundle. But if I open this bundle, well, it's not there. Where did it go? And the problem is I'm searching for has label feedback and is in the inbox. And again, I'm not applying this feedback label on the thread with a filter. So again, remember we archived the thread, if you're following all this, super exciting stuff. We archived the thread. So the first 4 messages here between these 2 simplify accounts have the label feedback. You can't see that because Gmail only shows it at the thread basis. The last one does not. That was the one that was still in the inbox. So this one has inbox but not feedback. These have feedback but not inbox. Ergo, when you click to open the bundle, which is just a search, it doesn't show up. So if I open this back up and you're like, well, it's in the inbox, why would I need to do anything with that? If I actually move this to the inbox, which I think I have to archive it to do that, now it will move all of the messages in that thread to the inbox. And so now when I open it up, it is there. All right, if you didn't follow that, it's fine. Hopefully you're still with me because there's lots of cool stuff I want to show. But all of this is to say the inline bundles, while they don't show all the messages that are in the bundle, they're only showing what's on the current page. You can still get to view all, but if you go to view all, you might be missing some messages that are in that bundle technically if you apply labels manually and you keep a clean inbox by archiving a lot of stuff. If you apply with filters, don't worry because the labels are automatically reapplied. Everything should work. Okay, and how I'm going to explain that to everyone else when I actually launch this, I have no idea. Why did this update take so long? And really, the core of it is I had to re-implement next previous, both in list view and in message view. So when I open a bundle, the whole point of bundling is to be able to process these in batch. Now I did add bundle actions, and these do work with keyboard shortcuts. So enter will expand and collapse. O will open, so I can open the whole thing. Capital U, capital I for mark as unread. And similarly for archive, you can just hit E and it will, whoops. Oh, it didn't, oh, that's interesting. I found a bug. I think, well, anyways, we'll get back to that. If I just say unread, capital U or capital I for marking everything as read, and same thing with E for archive all. Oh man, something is not working. Oh, I found a bug. There it goes. I don't know what's going on there. I think because I was marking things as unread or something. Still not perfect, but we'll get there. So, and backspace to delete all, so I can hit backspace. Again, not working. Oof, that is awesome demo there, Michael. Well, the button, the actual thing works. I'll see if I can get that fixed before I ship this out. So you got keyboard shortcuts. Now the thing is, I want to be able to I want to read these as a bundle, right? I want to read message 1, 2, and 3. But if I unbundle my inbox, if I turn off simplify, it's a little hard to follow, but those were Google Docs messages. There's the first and the second, but here's the third. It's way down here, and there's all these messages in between. So every bundle solution I've seen out there today doesn't fix this problem. When I open a message and you go to the next message, even though I've told Gmail to show them this way, Gmail doesn't care. It doesn't know that I've reordered everything. It still opens the messages in the order that they were originally, before they were bundled, both when you're using keyboard shortcuts here and when you're actually using keyboard shortcuts here. And so what Simplify has done is actually fix that. And I'm super excited I got this working. I did a lot of experimenting before I even started working on bundling to make sure I was going to be able to do that, discovering things like double clicking on the checkbox moves focus. So a lot of my hackery is actually I am simulating double clicks to move focus around when you're clicking up, down, and all kinds of other fun stuff. And it just looks like it works. And it's pretty performant. See, there's holding down the up, down, and that is just about as fast as if I turn off Simplify. This is not using mine, so it works well. Okay, so next previous. So there's a bunch of stuff of making that work, both in list view and in the message view. You can see this a little bit better even if I go to reading pane. So if I open up a message here, I hit next, and it goes between them. And then the other cool thing is if you are not, so this, let's unbundle this. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna take those off of feedback. And now there's only one message. And so, all right, so the other cool thing is it skips over the bundle if you're in the message. And you can see that best here in reading pane. I'm gonna skip over the workspace and go straight to the next message. So the same thing, if you're in message view here and I start with this one, it's gonna go this message, then the Google Docs one, and then skip all these workspace messages to the next Google Docs message. So hit J, and then boom, that's another Google Docs message. You can kind of see it better up here where I'm skipping from the second to the seventh message and so forth. When I get to the end of a bundle, so if I'm at like the, whoops, whoa, where did we go? If I go to the end of the bundle and I'm skipping here, you saw 94 to 99, and I get to the end of the bundle, I'll actually close the bundle. That should have stayed open. Something's getting a little funky on me here. I think too much with the changing of reading pane. It sometimes causes issues. All right, let's try this one more time. All right, boom, close the bundle. It should have stayed open. And totally refresh. See, it's working flawlessly. It's great. And I am not going to reshoot this video again. So you're just going to have to see it with all its warts. There. All right, that worked that time. So always, when in doubt, refresh. So hitting next a few times, it closed the bundle. It didn't keep going to the next message. You're trying to process this stuff in batch. So it's going to go back to the list view and you can decide what to do next. I don't know if keeping the highlight, the focus on the last message you viewed and staying here, or moving the focus back to the top and scrolling back up might be the better way to go. I haven't decided. So there's a few interesting design decisions I've got to make about this. Okay, so we talked about keyboard shortcuts, we talked about bundle actions, we talked about search, we've talked about auto-closing the bundle. Other fun details, if you're at the bottom here, I mean, there's just, Gmail does a lot of really clever things, and I had to re-implement those things. So if you're at the bottom of the list, right, and I've got this is page 1 of 10, and you hit next, Gmail actually will go to the next page, and so Simplify had to recreate that. Similarly, if I'm here at the top of the second page and I click up, it will go to the previous page and scroll to the bottom. So all those things should work. It should be as good as Gmail, except with bundling. Let's see. There's also, there's just a ton. I mean, it's just a massive undertaking to do this. Like, I don't know how much of the nitty gritty you really want to hear all about. I have to remember state, so the message, like the bundles, like, a bit around scroll position, but mostly around bundles being open, and like what is in focus. If the list gets refreshed, I have to remember that. So it shouldn't ever look like it's actually budging. But this list, unbeknownst to you, gets refreshed quite often. And what Gmail actually does in the code is they throw away all of this code that's like rendering this list, totally deleted. Whole new set of code comes in, and so I have to re-parse it. It's quite a feat. So oh, so what are other updates? So a couple other small things I want to call out. This now works better if you're using the tabbed inbox. So let's go over here. You'll notice that if I come over here, there's my promotions label, and ta-da, it's not bundling. So I won't bundle on promotions inside the promotions tab. I won't bundle on updates inside the updates tab. It doesn't matter if you're showing or hiding the label anymore. It just does the right thing. If you go to a sectioned inbox, so let's go to like priority inbox here, and we'll come down here and give something focus. And now it jumps between sections. Isn't that lovely? I did some other small things, like if you collapse a section, it now is a lot smaller. I think that collapse section used to take up a lot of space. So still improving some of the core stuff. I think the little zippies are now on the edge, so everything lines up on the left side. I'm still kind of tinkering with how does all this stuff look. Everything should be better in dark mode. Everything should be better in themes. Reading pane looks a lot better. There was a nasty little bug. I mean, this just didn't look good at all. If you expanded this, now that looks good. So just lots of stuff. There's some other small changes. I think the biggest new setting, okay, the two new settings is now you have the option of what's the default. Do you want to expand in line, or do you want to open the bundle in a search? Opening the bundle in the search is great for, when you really were trying to deep clean and clean things out. I would definitely recommend it there, but you can still do that even with the expanded inline. You can just click view all. So I think that's probably the right default experience, but love to hear any thoughts. You now have the option to bundle when there is only one message. So I'm calling this bundle only when two plus threads in the same label. So for instance, that feedback one, there's only one message right now in this current page. If I turn that off, where it's saying at least two, it will now bundle. So now it's letting me bundle with just one. Some people really wanted that. I don't know about that, but easy option to add, so that's fine. And there's a few other improvements I've made. I think a better, I put everything in the change list. So if you go to the change list.simplify, which is I think up here somewhere. Yeah, changelog.simplify, or you can just click on what's new right here. That'll go to the same page. So there's a bunch of stuff, other little things, better compatibility with some other extensions, and some other things. But as far as what comes next, this is still not ready for prime time. I want to focus on settings next. So you still don't have the option yet to not bundle certain labels. The only way to do that is to opt to not show the label. So for instance, this workspace bundle here, if I don't want that to bundle, I have to say, don't show it in the message list. So label list is whether or not it's above this more. Message list is whether or not it's shown on the thread. So if I hide that, and then I refresh my list, those won't bundle. They'll still show up here when you open the message, but they won't show up here. It's kind of annoying that that's the only way to do it. So I do intend to make it so that you can actually just disable that. I can keep the label shown and disable that. Let's go back to default. All right. So settings, and of course your continued feedback and reports. Please, send feedback reports. You can do that through this menu right here, report issue. That takes you to this page. Any of these forms are fine. And when you do it that way, it lets me know. It gives me a system report. So it tells me about how you have your Simplify configured, a few other variables about, are you on Mac or Windows? How big is your window? Stuff that helps me kind of troubleshoot when things aren't looking right. Other stuff coming up. I mean, there's a long tail of things still to go through. And a lot of this stuff is like super edge casey. And some of this I might have even done. I haven't really gone through and made sure my list is accurate, but still things to do. But I think it's in a much better place. Hopefully you enjoy it a lot more, can use it more easily, and I look forward to your feedback. Thanks so much. Cheers.